Welcome to Citizens Corner. I am Jarus, and of course, once again with me is my bastion of common sense, Lightning Dragon. Of course, on this particular show, we discuss some viewer comments and also some things that may come up during the course of the week that are either controversial or interesting, and we have a little bit of both on this, actually. For starters, I'm going to show an image here of the collector's box image that was, Sandy had put this out on Twitter. It looks like they're voting internally on what the collector's box for Star Citizen is going to look like. And it looks like they have 3 basic choices, and of course with Akani.
Red, blue, and green. Choose your ending.
No, this is more like shades of gray. This is more like the Gears of War version. So, yeah, I got a few comments here from subscribers, and then we'll get into the meat of it, as you saw by the title. Stephen Williamson states, "The galley kitchen they show, with the angles and color scheme, reminds me of the Nostromo common area in Alien." And he's referring to the Reclaimer on this. And yeah, it does. I mean, you know, once again, with a great lighting system and things like that, man, we get Xenomorphs in the game. We are set. Well,
we are doomed.
Yeah, that might be a better word than set. But yes, I think atmosphere is just so important, and that whole lived-in look, I think, it's amazing. They come a long way. I mean, if you go back, I remember when the first ship that I had snagged when I started the game, oddly enough, one I never seemed to keep, is the Connie. And I had snagged that as my package. And with the Connie, I remember from how it was, how it is now, and things like that. It's not just the
some concept art.
It's not only just the texturing. Actually, the textures went way better, but the polygon count actually dropped. And they've refined these ships, and they're night and day from what they were when we first saw them. And when you see what the stuff they're coming out with now, I don't know. I mean, what we're going to see in like a year from now going to make that stuff look vapid and just...
And the interesting thing about the Connie in particular is if you look at like the Connie that I own, the Taurus, which I can't spell for the life of me.
That ship always looks so dirty.
It is dirty and disgusting. It really feels like the industrial version. I mean,
yeah, and that's still the old model too.
Yeah, I mean, you run it, you toss it when you're done. You know, you don't care. Then you kind of go up to the what's this main model called? Something with an A.
For the Andromeda?
Yeah. You go to that one. It's kind of middle of the road. It's more clean, but there's some dirty spots on it. Then you go up again, and you look at the Phoenix, which is like 300. It's not 300. It's the Origin, I think it is. The Origin is a manufacturer.
No, it's RSI.
No, I'm talking about in general, like the manufacturers. Like the 300 series.
Origin 300 series, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you look at the Phoenix, and it's very like Origin feeling. Everything's clean and smooth and white and sterile. It's a very fancy looking ship, and this is all within the same line of ships. Like this one is taken care of. It's more upkept. It's funny because Jingles released a video recently. He was talking about, you know, during the British Navy. Because there was no wartime stuff, the job of the XO was to keep the ship clean and make it look good. And it's kind of funny because that's kind of what the Phoenix reminds me of. It's a ship that's designed to look good.
Yeah, I kind of always wanted the Phoenix. I wanted the cross chassis to one last time, but they didn't give the option. I like the fact that the Phoenix has the anti-missile system built into it. That's what was attractive to me, and also ground vehicle as well. So, but no such luck. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, the internals, I like the grungier, the dirtier kind of ships because I don't know, they feel more real to me than the bright and shiny ones. And we have one here from Antares. "I imagine another important aspect of picture-in-picture is you can, for example, have cameras on probes / arms on the Reclaimer for accurate control of the claw. All utilitarian ships will need this, whether it's salvage, mining, or whatever." You know, that's a really good point. Now, they already have the ability to switch like points of view. Like when you're in the Super Hornet and you try to run the turret on the Super Hornet, you kind of see a camera point of view. And that is one thing that the game has been able to do for a while now. But to be able to say display, if you look down on a panel in the ship,
on those fancy MFDs,
yeah, and see the camera perspective on that MFD, that's something that they've had difficulty getting to work directly. And to see them actually go ahead and do that, it does add a greater immersion. See, what they would have had to do before, if this wasn't an option, is you would have had to go into a camera point of view, which was already doable very much in the engine. And that depends on what you really like. I mean, if that's the way that, if you prefer I only see the camera kind of point of view, or if you want to have a more immersive world, then like in the real world, if you were looking down at a screen, you'd be looking at the screen showing
like a backup camera.
Yeah, well, you'd be looking like, hey, it's like I'm looking at my screen right now, right? I just don't have the screen as the only thing I'm seeing. There's like the wall behind the screen, there's the desk, there's the keyboard. So all that's there. And when you have that in the game, if you're looking down at a panel and you see, you got your other buttons and stuff on the panel and you're controlling all of it, to me, that adds more immersion to the game. And
Let's
so you
talk
could
about the Orion, for example.
Yeah.
The Orion has a big mining arm, similar to the Reclaimer. It's got a big claw on it. Would you want to know because the thing about the Orion is you're going to have someone who's like a dedicated drilling operator. The claw thing might be like, okay, well, we're slowing down, we're going to use the claw. But with the Orion, you might have someone who's maneuvering, and you have someone who's like, okay, go this far to the right, or up a little bit, or pitch the nose forward to get at that ore seam. So you're gonna have some coordination there. And if either his entire screen is that camera, that's fine. But you could have it where he's got maybe 2 or 3 large MFDs or just screens that are showing like multiple perspectives, like the top of it, the back, maybe one that's pointing down from the top of the ship over, so you can get a wide angle look, so you have an idea of what's going on. And the pilot, because that's such a huge ship, he's going to need like left, right, up, down cameras, not to mention just looking out the glass for just piloting, because if you're maneuvering in an asteroid field, you need to be able to like not crash into asteroids.
That's helpful. That's very helpful. And the thing is that also as well, say if you're running an arm or something like that, and you're looking at the camera, and you've got the, for example, let's say there is buttons for like retracting or extending or opening or closing the claw or whatever, and they're on the actual dashboard, and you're looking at the camera. So once again, it's like immersion. Like I'm seeing what I'm looking at. I'm running the buttons. Everything's kind of changing, the view's changing or whatever as I'm doing these things. I know, I love it. I love that kind of concept. I like to see more immersion. The more we can make the game feel like you're in the game, the better.
The less we have to switch to a third-person camera, the better.
Exactly. Sir Ryuk92 says, "Don't worry. If you don't keep bringing up the tally, it might be forgotten." Well, we're bringing up the tally. Tally. Tally?
Until they fix it, I will never let it go.
Also, I'd like to add into the whole tally thing, Redeemer.
At least that ship's getting love. I mean, the Retaliator was like, here you go, bye.
Well, if there's getting love, it's a long time down the road.
Well, I mean, they've shown the interior, they've shown the exterior, they've had animations. I mean, maybe it's not going to be in the next version, but I mean, like...
It's not even scheduled for this year. What are you talking about?
Well, look how much work they've put into it.
The Redeemer?
You know how CIG is.
They haven't done anything with the Redeemer. Nothing since the Great Starship.
Oh, Redeemer. Sorry, I was thinking Reclaimer.
I was like, what are you talking about?
My bad. Sorry, I was thinking Reclaimer, but yeah.
That's what I said. There's too many ships with the same letters.
Redeemer, Retaliator, Reclaimer, Regurgitator,
Recycler. I don't know.
Recycler, Repairer.
Yeah, it's getting a little nuts. There's other letters in the alphabet, guys. Start using them.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as the Reclaimer goes, I imagine what's going to happen is like 3.2 Reclaimer. Woo, here you go, guys. Have fun.
Well, the biggest bulk of the things we want to talk about, of course, if you've been paying any attention to the forums and any attention to what's been going on this week, the general forum chat is lit up with discussion about the change to the CCU system.
Wow, you know, like CCU.
Exactly. So the thing is that, you know, when I made the Blastcast, I didn't have much information on it, and I didn't want to make or jump to any, just jump to a conclusion. So
not enough information.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and put up a picture here of the latest dev post. Kind of what's going on here is, this is, in my opinion, partially a strike at the gray market. There are some exploits, from what I understand, that people are doing to access to rare ships, or basically as changes of as prices of ships go up. And they'd stated a long time ago that as the game got closer to release, the price of ships would go up incrementally. So it was kind of in a sense, a reward to earlier backers, that you get a ship that is, let's say when you get it, it's $150, but by the time the game launches or gets close to launch, it's about $200. So you get that advantage. And keeping these CCUs, people can actually sell them on the black market. It's like, hey, instead of you actually spending the extra $50, why don't you pay me $25? I'll give you the CCU, and then, you know, we're both happy.
I think they've delivered on part of this I can't remember what it is. The ship price is going up.
Yeah, some of it,
because they have the new, like, you buy it with war bonds or you buy it outright or whatever.
That's one of the steps, definitely.
Yeah, so I think they've partially implemented that, because I don't think they want to annoy new backers. Like, I can't believe how expensive this ship is. But it kind of says, like, oh, if you've already, you know, bought the game, you know, there's these different prices for you. But what's going to happen eventually is we won't be able to buy these ships.
No. I know, as you know, if we look at, as I already showed you, the collector's box image, when you're looking at the point when they're actually making a collector's box to put the game in, and you're also looking at, you know, I really think that when we hit 4.0, when we have the ability to go to a different system, the game's going to be in beta at that point, because you have all your major systems in. You have everything in that would make the game running, with the exception of having, you know, all the actual additional systems past that. But you had the mechanics are there, and I think that's when you're looking at beta. So, you know, as we get closer, a lot of it's
going to be fine tuning after that.
Yeah, and I think as we get closer and closer to the release, these things are going to become more and more common. You're going to see less and less of these ships for sale. And, you know, with Squadron 42, when Squadron 42 comes out, they're going to have an influx of additional funding just from the sales of that game. There's a lot of people who haven't backed the game at all. They're going to buy this, and then of course they're going to play the game, and then they're going to go ahead and jump into the backing of Squadron 42. I would expect by the time Squadron 42 comes out that you'll see another price hike on certain ships, just because it's, well, looking from a business point of view, it's a time to strike when the iron's hot, right? I mean, you got your game out there, people are now paying attention to it. Now they're jumping over, and, you know, that $60 Avenger may not, you know, actually now be like $75 or $80.
I have a slightly different opinion here.
Huh.
I think what's going to happen is when it gets close to the release time of Squadron 42, which is the, you know, full release single player game, is before that, maybe a month, maybe 2, maybe 3, no ships are going to be sold. They're going to have one last sale saying this is the last time for you to buy a ship pre-launch, and then they're not going to sell any ships for, you know, 1 to 3 months or something, and they're going to release Squadron 42.
You know, you might be right. They might just say, "Hey, one thing we're going to sell is the game package with the basic Aurora or the Mustang, and that's what you're gonna pick." And, you know, that would be $60 standalone for the persistent universe, and $60 for the, you know, basically instead of having the $60 for both games, it'd be $60 per game. It's possible. Who knows? We'll have to see. But, you know, also as well, something you have to keep in mind, guys, is that the CCUs, the $0 CCUs, by the time 3.0 comes out, they're going to be gone. They're deleting them out of the system. There's 1.05 million $0 CCUs people have in their accounts floating around, and they're using these to basically go back and forth between ships, which is another issue as well. Because, okay, give you an example. Let's say I have a $60 ship, and just as a throw this out as a number, And say there's like several other $60 ships. And I stockpile a bunch of these $0 CCUs. And what I do is that, depending upon what I feel like flying that day, or depending upon the meta, I melt this one ship, I convert it over to this ship for $0. And this keeps happening back and forth. And the developers are trying to keep track of metrics. How many of this kind of ship is out there? What kind of play styles are players looking at? What are they interested in? What's the rarity of certain rare ships? How many are actually out there? They want to figure out how much these ships going to cost in the persistent universe based on rarity, so on and so forth. So, I mean, this is just a matter of coming out and trying to come up with a release state balance for the game. And I can get their frustration on trying to come up with metrics and fix things when everything is constantly changing all the time. So, do I think it's a bad decision? No. I think for some respects that players have been abusing their generosity, and when you get a ship, you're not just getting a ship, you're backing the game. I mean, first and foremost, that's what you're doing. You're backing the game. The ship is
just a bonus.
The ships are a bonus. They're a nice thank you. There's lots of games out there that I backed, that just give a basic ship at a lot of different levels. I mean, even if you go up to like $100, the only thing you're going to get is maybe a soundtrack and a thank you note in the credits or something.
Fuzzy dice to hang on your rear.
Yeah, you don't get much of anything, right? You don't get a whole different ship. And with CIG's model, you're getting like whole different ships. You're getting whole different play styles. Everything there's tons of choices. It's all open there for you, and that's the reward you get for backing. So let's try not to jump down their throat on this too much, because we are getting into the final phases, and we need to kind of help them get across this home stretch, and that involves testing. That involves playing with the ships and focusing on the play styles that we want. They want to know, for example, how many people out there are cargo ship pilots. Well, if your cargo ship is out and you swap it out for a fighter in the meantime, the metric shows that more people want to be fighters than cargo pilots.
We don't need any more fighters.
Right. Well, they want to know. They want to know what people want to do. So what they need to focus on the most. And with the ships constantly changing hands, they don't know. Maybe people want to do exploration the most. Maybe people want to do cargo. Maybe people want to do. They notice like tons of people having the Aurora with the bounty package or whatnot. Maybe that's what they want to do. They want to do bounty hunting.
I think as we get closer to release,
mining.
I think we're going to see less and less CCUs because there's nothing to do as far as cargo runs right now.
Yeah. Well, once 3.0 comes out and we got cargo runs, I mean, that's going to change obviously a large part of the game. But anyway, so just be patient on them. Don't flip out. I don't think this is an evil decision. This is not something just to grab more money. This is like saying, stop it, guys. Slow down. Help us get the data we need to make the game that you actually want. And they're trying to get our feedback. And your best feedback at this point in time is to just focus on keeping the ship or ships that you have the way that you want them, what playstyles interest you, and CCU as little as possible, because they need good data. And that's what we're here for. We're here to test and give good data, give feedback. So just stick it out, guys. We're in the home stretch. They've got their systems now set up. They've got most of their baseline down. The rest of this, after 3.0 comes out, is refinement. Things like ship controls, things like missions, additional planets, space sectors, additional content, different things that are procedurally generated. These are all just things that they just have to add in. But their base is strong now. Of course, obviously netcode.
Well, you were able to play with your brother for quite a while without any 3,000 disconnects or 30,000 disconnects.
Yeah, it was just surprising. That was almost 3 hours, which was good because he had never been able to stay on the game for more than like 5 minutes at a time. So that was really fun. That was some of the footage we had in the Blastcast. Was my brother as Captain Tyler. I took him to Grim Hex for the first time because he was actually online long enough to make it, and he got lost. So I was trying to get him into the station. Anyway, guys, so what are your thoughts on the CCU debacle? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? I'm curious. I mean, do you see CIG's point of view on this? Because to me, I think they're making the right decision. I'm not mad at them at all. I think it's time to buckle in, settle in, sit down, grind this out, get this finished up.
And if they really want to hurt the gray market, if you CCU something, lock it to your account. Oh, you CC'd. I've CCU'd to a Cutlass, then I CCU'd that to the Taurus, because it's like, the Cutlass isn't exactly what I want. Yeah. Now that they've upgraded the Cutlass, I kind of regret that, but at the end of the day, my Taurus will probably outhaul the Cutlass any day of the week, so I'm not totally unhappy with it. Yeah, but that should be locked to my account.
Yeah. So as I said, just leave comments down below, and I'm really curious to know what you guys actually think. All right, guys. Well, that's it for this particular Citizens Corner, and we will catch you next time.
Coffee.